welcome to the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast. This is where I talk about all of the knitting and crochet and other crafty things that I've been up to over the past couple of weeks. My name is Ali and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Starry Eyes Ali, and also I vlog regularly over on my other channel, which is called This Little Wonderful Life. It is about 8 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Both my daughters are at home. The teenager won't be up for hours, but my other daughter, who's 11, she's still asleep, but her bedroom's just up and along a bit, so I'm probably going to wake her up by doing this, and then I'll have to stop filming and start again later. But I'm determined to film a podcast today. Got a bit of a cold, so you might hear that I'm a little bit snotty and I might have to keep cutting out to sneeze. Right on cue, I start to sneeze. Well, so have I covered everything that I needed to say in the beginning? I said my name's Ali. I live in Kent, in the very south east of the UK, and I've just got back from my holidays. We went to Lancashire for a week and I've been making lots of vlogs about that over on my other channel. It was absolutely lovely, and it's been a few weeks since I've made a podcast, so I've got tons and tons to catch you up on. I've got some works in progress on my works in progress. I've got a couple of finished things to share with you. I have news on the Strictly Sockalong 2022, the 6th year of the Strictly Sockalong, and I feel like I'm a bit late in sort of talking about it, so I'm absolutely bursting to share with you everything for this year. I've got some stuff to show you that I've been buying or that I've received, and I've got a little update for you on teaching Dan, my husband, to knit, and he's actually going to make a little appearance as well. We've already filmed it. It was a little bit chaotic, but hopefully that will come out all right, so I'm going to share that with you as well, and just lots more knitty, crochet, crafty delightfulness. So let's get started. Oh, my memory card's just run out. Hang on. Okay, it's now 9:15. That has taken about 45 minutes to sort out, so the window of opportunity to film has reduced dramatically. My memory card was full and I tried to empty it, and then for some reason it wasn't empty, and then I had to I had to Google how to sort it out, and then it all took a very long time. But I now have 3.5 hours worth of space on my memory card, and I promise that I won't talk for quite that long. So let's get started at last with some finished things. So the first thing I wanted to share with you is something I spoke about in the last episode, which I had just sort of started on a bit of a whim for fun. And it turned out to be such a fun, quick, enjoyable project. And Phoebe has actually decided she's stealing this. She saw me making it and she'd never seen me make anything like it. So she was like, "What are you making? Can I try it on?" And then she's decided it's going to be hers. So it's a free pattern and a lovely viewer of this podcast. People often will email me just with, or send me a message on Instagram or Ravelry just with patterns that they've seen that they think I'll like, which is just absolutely lovely. There's all these people going, "Oh, yeah, I might just send that to Ali and she might like it." And it's just a lovely way to discover things I wouldn't otherwise have discovered. So that's what happened in this case, and lovely Elaine, who's off on her holidays soon, have a lovely time Elaine, sent me a free pattern on the Katia website. It's a pattern by Esther Miss DIY, and it's the bucket hat, and it's basically a crochet bucket hat pattern. I will put a picture on the screen of the pattern picture. I will put a picture on the screen of the pattern picture. I'm pretty sure that makes sense, because my copy is just a scraggy black and white copy and you can't really see it. So you will see that the version in the pattern is really lovely and colourful, and I decided to use some cotton yarn because it's a sun hat and I thought cotton's nice and light and nice to wear in the summer, and I wanted to do really muted colours. And here it is. So you start off with crocheting your the top in a circle, then you make your granny squares and attach them, and then you pick up your crochet stitches along this edge and do the rim. I'll put it on to demonstrate it for you. It's really lovely. It's slightly bonkers, which I like. I was thinking starching this bit would be quite good, and you could even go even bigger on the brim, couldn't you, and have a nice big floppy sun hat. So that's, I can't see if you can see, but that's what it looks like on the top, which is a lot better than my actual hair, which is under here, which is about 3 inches of grey at the moment. Yeah, so Phoebe's stolen this. It fits quite loosely, which is what I wanted to go for. Well, partly it's because I want what I wanted to go for, because obviously you don't want something tight against your head if you're wearing it as a sun hat. But also because I found getting gauge really, really difficult. So they recommend a 2.5 crochet hook. Maybe it was because of the yarn I was using. They use, I can't remember now, I would have looked it up. So they use Katia Capri, and I would have looked up what the weight of that yarn was, but I can't remember now. And I used 4-ply cotton yarn. It was a mixture of Drops I Love You. Actually, I think it was mainly Drops I Love You and maybe some Muscat. Oh no, Muscat's the heavier weight, isn't it? What was it then? Oh, it would have been Drops Saffron and Drops I Love You 7. So I used a combination of those, which are sort of 4-ply weight or fingering weight yarns, and I used a 1.5mm hook. Is that right? Yeah, I used a 1.5mm hook, which was a right pain. It's really tiny, and cotton yarn, of course, is made up of lots and lots of little strands, and yeah, it was a bit of a pain, but despite that, I really, really enjoyed making it. It was really good fun just to construct something so simple, and I think I might make another one in different colours. It's really cute. I might get Phoebe to model it later, see if I can put a picture of her up on the screen wearing it. So that is my crochet summer hat, all finished, just in time for autumn. And that was all living in my lovely bag that my friend Gaynor made for me. Gaynor has the Tales from Cuckoo Land channel. And look, she made the bag, she did yellow drawstrings because she knows yellow is my favourite colour, and she even embroidered herself a little lobster on it. And I've got a little pin here because when the last time we met, Gaynor and I, we went to Bristol and I bought this little pin. So this is my Gaynor bag. Quick nose blowing break. So my other finished object, I'm going to have to do a little cutaway to. I'm hoping maybe we might have time to show this and film it before I take Phoebe out to a friend's house later. So last time I shared that I was making the girls a simple little crochet pocket bunny. It was a free pattern on the Spinner Yarn website, and I forgot to link it in the description box, and quite a few of you had said, oh, we'd love the link to the pattern, so I will make sure it's definitely linked underneath in the description box this time. That's where you'll find all the chapter links and links to everything that I talk about, so make sure you hit that little down arrow, which will be here, and that'll bring up the description box with all of the information of stuff that I talk about. But I welcome you to correct me or to ask questions if I missed something out, which is exactly what happened last time, and I didn't have time to update the last description because I was away on holiday, but I will make sure the link is underneath this video. So that is for the Pocket Bunny pattern by Spinner Yarn Crochet, who's Gillian. It's free and it was brilliant. It was really quick to make up, and I'm going to cut away now to me and hopefully Phoebe talking about her finished bunny, who she has called Sid. Phoebe is here, she's up. You'll see her at the end of the podcast because she's just spent the entire past 10 minutes interfering with it. And she's here to show you the finished object that I spoke about that was in progress last time. There are 2 of these, but Lilia is still asleep and she will be asleep for some time. They are tailless bunnies because I ran out of time to make their tails, and I like Phoebe's because it's got orange eyes, because that was all I had and it just makes me laugh so much. So Phoebe has called hers Sid. And what you do is you crochet 2 panels and then you crochet them together and then stuff them to make them a bit more 3D, but it's such a lovely way to crochet something. She has lots of patterns like this, like a fox, and I think a panda and other things where you can make like mini versions, but she's also got much bigger ones as well, and they're all sort of made in this flat way. Oh, I love it. So Lilia's is blue and Phoebe's with brown eyes, and Phoebe's is green with orange eyes. And that is my finished spinner yarn pocket bunny. And he came all the way to Lancashire with us, didn't he? Do you love him?
Yeah. Hashtag Sid for life.
It's going to be a bit of a choppy, changey podcast, this, which is quite exciting. Makes things a bit different, doesn't it? Okay, let's talk about some of the things that I've been working on. So the progress on works in progress. The first thing I want to share with you is the project I took away with me on holiday. So we spent the week in Lancashire, which is about a 5-hour drive, 4.5, 5-hour drive from where we live. So I had plenty of time in the car to knit because Dan, my husband, loves driving, and I like driving too, but he really insisted that he wanted to drive the whole way there. So I thought, fine, I will use the time as well as handing out snacks for knitting. I only took one project on holiday with me, and it was this one. I've got my lovely pin on my bag. This was for my friend Becky. Becky has the Back to Blighty podcast, and she has recently uploaded a couple of episodes where she's kind of changed the style of how she films her videos, and they are so aesthetic and lovely and calm and filled with nature and creativity. So I would really recommend that you go and check her channel out, and particularly the most recent 2 videos I've so enjoyed. Just my kind of thing, very calm. I should say as well that that pin from Becky is by dearyou.com, with you spelt like the sheep. So in here I've got my Litmus Cow, which is a pattern by Stranded Dye Works, and is it free? Yeah, it's a free pattern. It's a really simple pattern, really good idea. Basically you work round and round in a big tube, but then what you do is you start with a provisional cast on down here, which I was a bit scared about doing, but turns out not very scary at all. And then at the end you graft the 2 ends together, so you have a big kind of cow. So I'm going to make this as long as I possibly can so it can go around twice, and because you work in a tube you get double thickness, so it's going to be really super duper warm. And what I'm using to make this is for my birthday, from lovely Hilary, who has been a long time friend of this podcast. She sent me for my birthday a load of minis from Henny Penny Makes, who I had not heard of before. She's a UK dyer, she's based in Scotland, and they're absolutely beautiful. And I've got so many of these minis, so I put them all together. I even laid them all out and numbered them because I've got a vague idea of how I want to order them, but I've already accidentally missed 2 of them out, so they can go in later, it's fine. They're going to be sort of in a vague rainbow order. So I've got them all in my little bag so they don't get too tangled up as I'm in and out of the bag. And I've got some more upstairs as well if I feel like it needs to be longer. And I'm striping it with just a plain grey, which I had left over from another project, and it's Cascade Heritage, I think. Is it? Oh, that's not good, is it? Cascade Heritage, colour 5660, which is, I think, light grey. There we go. That was really boring to show you, wasn't it? Just grey yarn. And what I worked out how many rounds I could get for each mini, and unfortunately it was 13. So I've decided to try and put superstition aside and just go with it. So each little block of colour is 13 rounds, and therefore each little block of grey is also 13 to match, except for when I lose count, in which case some of them might be 14, some of them might be 12, who knows. I'm trying not to be too perfectionist about it, but look how it's working up. This is supposed to kind of be red going into yellow going into orange. No, red going into orange going into yellow, but I forgot to put my 2 yellow ones in here, so I've gone straight to green. But that's fine, I have an idea of how I'm going to come back round and maybe do a rainbow coming out both sides, if that makes sense. So when I get to kind of violet, I'll start again to come back, possibly. We'll see. Well, I'm just making it up as I go along, but look how lovely the colours are working up. They look so nice against that grey. I was thinking it would look really lovely, wouldn't it, if I'd used black yarn as well. So I'd be tempted to do another one of these with another set of minis, but use black yarn as the contrast. I think that would look really lovely. Yeah, but I'm really enjoying this, and it's so mindless. It's the perfect kind of vanilla project. I'm working it magic loop, and because it's not sock stitch count, you get, I forget how many I had to cast on to begin with, but you've got quite a long row before you have to fiddle about with your needles and stuff, so it's quite satisfying. And because it's only 13 rounds before you change colour, you know, it motivates you to just finish one block and so on. So this was perfect car knitting, perfect waiting room knitting, and just perfect, oh my goodness, my brain is too full, I can't think about anything knitting. And that is the litmus cow. All of the patterns will be linked underneath if you want to go and check them out. And yeah, what else do I want to talk about? I'm not going to talk about this that's behind me. This is my corner to corner Moss Stitch crochet blanket. It is finished, but it needs a border, and I have been playing about. I did do 2 rounds of a border before I worked out that it was too tight, so I need to sort of work out my stitch count for it. So I need to get back to doing that so I can add a border. I'd like the border to be a good inch around, but it's a usable blanket for now, so it's just living on the sofa. Not that we need it just yet, although the weather is definitely turning. You'll notice I'm wearing my featherweight cardigan that I made with 3rd Volt yarns earlier in the year. Did I make it this year or last year? I can't remember. No, I made it last year. I wear this all the time. I'm going to make another one because I love it so much. It's the featherweight cardigan by Hannah Fettick, and all of these yarns, it's 3 different colourways from 3rd Volt yarns, and I love it. So I've got that on this morning because it's, you know, it's kind of a neutral temperature this morning. I could wear a cardigan or just a vest. Not be cold, not be hot. Although I'm feeling a bit warm because I'm getting a bit overexcited. I've also I gulped my tea in the time it took me to sort out my memory card. So my mug is really just here for aesthetic purposes to make it look like I'm drinking tea. I'm not, I've finished it. Right, I'm going off on a complete tangent. What else do I want to talk about? Okay, so the next 2 projects I want to talk about, we're going to cut away to some special guests. So Lilia, my eldest daughter, has learnt to crochet recently. She's 16, she's just finished secondary school, and she is about to start as a student at our local college, which is the college where she does sort of A-levels between the age of 16 and 18. And then after that, if she wants to, she can go on to university, which I think she does want to. Oh, and lots of you have asked about how she got on in her GCSE exam. She did brilliantly. We're so proud of her. She's so proud of herself, most importantly. And we're proud of her. We would have been proud of her whatever her results were, because she put the effort in. She really did. She's not naturally academic, and she had to work really, really hard. And we're just so proud of the effort that she put in. And it paid off, so she's done really well, but she's not staying on at school to do sixth form because they are not doing A-level drama, and drama is the deal breaker. So she is going to our local college. We're very fortunate to have lots of brilliant education places within walking distance. So it's a 15-minute walk away, the local college, and she's going to be doing performing arts. She enrolled on Tuesday and she's super excited, and they asked her, oh, did you have a good summer? What did you get up to? And she said, oh, it was great. I learned how to paddleboard and I learned how to crochet. She was proud to say that she was a crocheter, and I was like sitting there like, oh, so proud, so proud. So she is officially a crocheter. I think it's a lot to do with the Silver Knot on Instagram, who has the most amazing aesthetic, and she makes the most amazing crochet things, and she designs her own patterns as well. So do check her out if you want to see Lilia's inspiration for becoming a crocheter. But she has been making a granny square crochet top, which we've just been making from a picture. There is no pattern for it. We found a picture which we can't find a pattern for, but I can work it out from just looking at the picture. So we're going to have a chat about it. And I'm going to put that in here and she's going to show you that and the next project that she's working on as well. Okay, here is Lilia. We'll let you keep your glasses on this time. So Lilia last time showed you, I think, I can't remember where we were at.
The granny squares, just the granny
Just
squares.
the granny squares. So she's now sewn them together. I just showed her how to do it and she's done it herself. And she's got a lot of ends to weave in. And she's made a start on the
kind of border.
The border at the bottom. And I think there's a border that goes around the outside. I'll have to have another look at the picture. I will put the picture on the screen that we found. It's one that Lilia found on Pinterest. Hello. The cat's getting involved. She got involved earlier as well.
Whoa.
And I've just basically been looking at it and working it out from the picture by zooming in and working it out. That's not how the top is worn, is it? Do you want to, well, you can probably put it on over your
Yeah, probably
dress.
can. Hold on. Hello.
Yeah, so there. It fits really well and we haven't really paid much attention to gauge, and there's going to be a little shell bit that goes around the bottom here, and then the straps are just chains. Yeah, so she can then do it however long she wants it to be. So you've done really, really well. You've literally just got a tiny little bit to do, but you've been distracted by something else, haven't you?
Oh yes. I started on my next project, which is an Evil Eye tote bag. And I taught myself how to read the pattern, which was kind of hard. And it was the pattern for the first 3 rounds, so just up to the white bit. And then from the blue to the beige, I kind of made it up as I went along. And it worked out pretty well.
It worked out brilliant.
The beige bit is a bit dodgy, but it's okay.
Well, what Lilia did was, with the confidence of youth, she took the first few rounds of the granny square and then she wanted to square it off to make it square, because she's going to sew these together to make a bag. But what she hadn't paid attention to when she was making the eyes was stitch counts. She just kind of bowled along and did what she wanted to do, which meant when she came to do corners and sides, she realised not all of her eyes were equal. So in some of her squares, for example, this one, she's got 3 granny clusters along the one side and 2 clusters along all the other sides. 3, 2, 2, 2. And in other one, she's got 3, 2, 1, and in other one she's got 1s and 2s.
I think I just forgot to do a corner on this one.
But they're all looking pretty good, and I reckon we'll still be able to sew them together for your bag. But yeah, I think you might have to redo that one.
It's fine.
It's fine. Why worry?
It's just a bag. No one's going to care.
So yeah, so it's all good practice, isn't it? Yeah. And how are you feeling about crochet?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing really well with it and you're super confident. And
yeah.
What is it that inspired you to, because you've tried a few times over the years, so what's inspired you now?
I saw a guy on TikTok making huge fruit bears. And
TikTok.
They were awesome. They were so cool.
TikTok has a lot to answer for, but if it's made a crocheter out of you. You also like the silver knot, don't you?
Oh yeah, the silver knot. I really like her. She's made this cape thing. I think that's one of her new patterns. It's really cool.
So what's after your bag and your top?
After my bag, I'm going to make one of those holy jumper things for college.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining me, Lilia, on the podcast. Would you like to go back to what are you doing? You're painting, eating cheese.
I'm eating cheese and I'm about to continue painting.
And what are you watching?
I'm watching Lock and Key.
Lock and Key. Yeah, I've only caught glimpses of it and it looks very confusing.
Yes.
So you can see that she's doing so well with her crochet, and it's so nice to see her being so kind of uninhibited with it. You know, there's something about being 16 and not being a perfectionist and not worrying so much about the rules that's really freeing her up to enjoy it. But I'm only back for a second because for my next work in progress, it's another guest. And this one is one you've all been waiting for. I've been asked for months and months and months about this, and it's my husband Dan who asked me at the beginning of 2020, little did we know what was going to happen, if I would teach him to knit. And I have finally got round to doing it. He's making a hat. And we filmed a little thing last night after I got home from work, so it's a little bit all over the place. I was a bit delirious for my drive home, and I'm hoping I'll be able to edit it into some sort of thing that makes sense. So here's Dan talking about his work in progress.
Yeah. You got to fix this first before we do anything. I know what I've done. It kept slipping.
Okay. So, it doesn't matter how we film, I always look taller than you when we're sitting down. Is it because you're slouching? I still look taller than you, look. I'm not taller than him.
You're not taller than me.
So, even that hasn't helped. See that cushion?
Maybe you've got a long upper body.
I think I do have short legs, so.
What's that got to do with your upper body?
Well, mate, I don't know. Lots and lots of people have asked about whether or not Dan has started knitting.
I haven't.
And he has. So he's got his. Well, you show it because it's your project. So you've got to show your bag and talk about the yarn.
I have my Star Wars project bag. Thank you very much.
And who's that by?
You, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then I've got this really lovely kind of green yarn.
Oh look, you've been watching. A green yarn is not what it's called, is it?
No.
What's it called?
I don't know, it's in here somewhere.
I think it's called the
Oh, hang on, here it is.
World Turtle.
It's called Cosmic Turtle.
Cosmic Turtle. And who is it by?
Oh, God, I haven't got my reading glasses on.
Well, I don't know why I'm looking at it. I know I bought it. It's by Third Vault Yarns, one of my favourite dyers, and it's on a DK, on their Glow DK base. And I bought this at the Waltham Abbey Wool Show in January because I thought you'd like it because it's a bit of a Terry Pratchett reference.
It is.
I knit the rib of so it's the simple, oh I can't remember the name of it, the Simple Beginner's Beanie. I'll put it on the screen. And I also can't remember who it's by. So I'll put that on the screen as well. And it's a free pattern on Ravelry. So I did the rib. And I didn't pay too much attention to gauge. I did do a little bit of a gauge swatch because obviously Dan's gauge is going to be very different. So I did the rib because obviously that's the bit that will keep it on the head, on his head. And he didn't want a very long rib, did you? So I did that and then taught him how to do a knit stitch and he's been doing the rest.
Yes.
So shall I hold it up to show how much you've done?
Yes.
You were actually supposed to come on and talk about it, but you're just knitting now.
Well, it's because I'm enjoying knitting. Now, after 3 years that you finally taught me.
Yeah, so how have you found it so far? You say how you found it, whilst...
Well, initially, I was a bit all like fingers and thumbs, and I think holding the yarn was a real... Because the way you hold it's weird. I don't like it. It felt very uncomfortable in my hand. So I figured out a way of holding the yarn for me. And then I was concentrating so much on knitting, I found it quite stressful to start with, and I was actually sweating. I would sit here for like 10-15 minutes knitting, get up and my t-shirt would be a bit like, you know, sweaty. But I'm getting into it now, and I'm not very quick, but I'm enjoying it. And it's nice just, you know, every now and again, 10-15 minutes, pick up, do a couple of rounds.
Considering you have... So basically I did the rib and Dan's done everything else. And you haven't been sitting working on it constantly, just every now and then, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I'd say you've done a good sort of 30 rounds there, 20, or maybe not 30, maybe about 20, 25 rounds.
But
And your stitches, actually, I'll show everyone.
Give it back. It's fine.
Your stitches are very
Neat.
yeah, well, no, even is what I was going to say, because, you know, you're a beginner. I'd say your stitches are really nice and even. So he's working on 40cm circular needles, so he doesn't have to worry about magic looping.
Mine.
Or anything. What is the measurement on the needle then?
I have no idea.
Well, then seeing as it's yours, you'll have to look it up. Seeing as I'm
They're
not
like, what, 3.5 mil?
Are you guessing?
Yep.
It's written on them.
Where?
On the blue bit.
Four and a half mil.
Knit Prozing's 4.5mm needles. Dan's knitting journey has started, and because it's just round and round and round, he's sort of getting the hang. I think the trickiest thing is learning how to tension the yarn and hold the yarn, and once you've got that, everything becomes a bit easier. So because he's just going round and round, he's getting the hang of the basic knit stitch. I must say as well, Dan's actually left-handed, but you are...
I write left-handed. I do pretty much everything else right-handed.
Yeah, so I don't know how it would have gone if you were sort of purely left-handed, because you are very ambidextrous in lots of other things, aren't you?
It would have been divorce if it was purely left-handed.
I'm surprised you
Oh
got...
no, I just dropped... No.
No, you're alright. Yeah, so that is the story of Dan's hat. And sorry for not knowing all the details and having to put things on the screen. It is about 5:45 on Wednesday evening. I've literally just woken up.
Got home from work.
Just walked in.
Somebody's tired.
Just walked in the door from work, and I want to film a podcast tomorrow, so I said we sit down and do it.
Yes. So we can change the hashtag from Teach Dan to Knit to hashtag Dan is knitting.
Dan likes a hashtag.
Why not?
Especially if it's about you.
Obviously.
Is there anything else we need to say about your knitting?
No. Just that I don't know how to fix my mistakes, but I have
No.
been able to notice when I've made a mistake.
Yeah, that comes
Which is weird.
with practice though, because you start to be able to read your knitting
I
as
think
you
it comes with just a natural flair for knitting, really. He says, doing his stitch without looking at it.
So there he is. He's off and away, and isn't his knitting? Aren't his stitches really even and neat? I can't believe it. He's really enjoying it, and he sits there of an evening like this doing his knitting. So it won't be long, hopefully, until we get to the bit where he can start to learn decreases. He's got a little way to go, but the main thing is he's really enjoying it, so that's good. And so that's Lilia and Dan. Of course, I've got Phoebe, who's 11, and she can knit, and she has recently asked to learn how to make a granny square, having seen Lilia do it. So she's been working on that as well. She's got a practice piece to learn her stitches, and we've just started on a granny square as well. So there was one evening last week where we were all sat, it was early evening, it wasn't hot, and we were all sat upstairs in our bed, Dan and I's bed, and we were all sat in the bed, and Dan was doing his knitting, and Phoebe was practicing her crochet, and Lilia was doing her squares. And I said, oh, I'm the only one not making anything. So I reached under the bed and I grabbed this bag, and I said, oh, it's a good job I've got my emergency crochet. And they all sort of looked at me like, what? And I was like, oh, well, I keep this under the bed just in case, you know, if I'm ever, you know, ill or bedbound or for some reason can't leave the bedroom, I've got my emergency crochet. They all just laughed at me, thinking I've got like crochet or knitting projects in most areas of the house, you know, just in case. What if I became trapped in one room? What would I do with myself if I didn't have some knitting or crochet? So I whipped this out, and it made me think that I might share it with you. I think I shared it fairly recently, but I've got 3 of these projects on the go in various locations in the house, but this is one I keep under the bed because it is the most daft, the most simple, and the most stress-free, because it is one of my ugly blankets, or as Phoebe calls them, lovely blankets. No yarn goes unused in this house. If I can't use it, then I give it to a member of my family, because my mum and my sister both knit and crochet. And so do now my daughters and husband. Amazing. Or friends, or if I've got leftovers and I can't use them elsewhere, they'll go into another project. And if I've got tiny, tiny, tiny scraps, maybe even as short as this, they go into my ugly blankets. So I've got 3, one for dark yarn, one for kind of pretty 4-ply fingering weight yarn, and one for everything else. And this is the everything else. So you could say that this is the master ugly blanket, the ugliest of the ugly blankets. And last time I showed you, I think it was just a few rounds smaller, but I've added about 4 rounds since I last showed you. So I'm a bit annoyed that I started with this really ugly yarn in the middle. It was from one of these kits where you get really, really cheap acrylic yarn. And if I get one of those kits, I usually use my own yarn to make it, which is usually cotton, like amigurumi kits is what I mean. So this ugly blanket is where all the DK and above weight yarns go to, you know, live out their days. All the scraps come here to live for eternity. So I started off with the horrible kind of peachy coloured yuck in the middle. I really don't like that colour. And it's really horrible yarn as well, it really feels plasticky, but it would have just ended up in landfill. So here it is in my ugly blanket. And I've got some chunky yarn in here as well as DK, worsted weight. I think there's some fingering weight yarn in here as well. And yeah, I've just been adding to this a little bit recently just for a bit of mindless crochet. I was working on it last night. It's just really satisfying because the scraps that I have, I've got a couple, I've got 3 or 4 bags in here, and all the scraps just go into the bags, and then I just grab out whatever I fancy. And there are small little balls or bigger balls or just little, like I've got some granny squares that I was working on which I no longer need. So I just unravel directly from the granny square and it goes in. And I can choose whether I want to add, say, that amount or that amount. And that means I can kind of have the satisfaction of finishing a little bit, if that makes sense. And it's just a really satisfying and fun project to do. And you also have the gratification of knowing that that yarn that would otherwise have ended up in the bin, because what you're going to do with a scrap like that, is going to actually go into something that can be used. I like that feeling. Have I got anything else I want to mention? Oh, yes. So when I was at work yesterday, I suddenly popped into my head a project that I had showed in my whip video that I filmed earlier this year, and I need to film a kind of update about that. I did a big video, a big honest video about every single whip that I had, and some of them I decided to discard or frog, and some of them I said, right, I'm going to put this in a bag and I'm going to work on them. And this was one of those projects, and it's the Lobster on the Rocks hat. And I got the kit as a lovely gift, and I was also gifted the pattern as well. So, you know, that was sign enough for me that I needed to make this, and I love the hat anyway. It's by Donna Frost Ritchie. This is how the hat looks. So you've got the lobsters that go all around the hat itself, and then you've got this gorgeous sort of seaweed pattern on the crown. Now, I've tried to get this started 3 times now, and last night was the 3rd time. So when I last spoke about this, it was in episode, I checked last night, when was it? Episode 62 was the last time I spoke about this. So it was quite a while ago, and I had tried it with 2.75mm needles, and it just came out massive. You have to cast on 160 stitches for this hat, which is quite a lot for a hat anyway. So I went right down to 2.5mm needles last night, and I've done the first I think first 5 rows. It's got a corrugated rib, which is really complicated to do. Well, it's not complicated because it's just you knit in one colour and purl in another colour. I find that very hard to cope with, but anyway. I'm looking at this on my needles. Now I know it gets stretched out a bit when it's on the needles, but hang on. If I kind of thinking ahead, to how it might be. I might take it off and put it on waste yarn, which is what I did last time. But I can already see that if you stretch it out, you know, that's fitting just sort of loosely on my head. I can't see it coming in that much that it's gonna not just be really, really loose. I mean, oh dear. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I might get this onto waste yarn and have a look at it. But the other problem I have is these blinking needles. So these are Knit Pro zings, which I really like. I use Knit Pro zings in all of my DPNs and I really, really like them. But these are their 80 centimetre ones, and the cable has just got so much memory in it that it just, that's how basically how they've been stored in the packet, and that's all it wants to do. So when you're trying to do colour work in the first 2 rows in a rib on 160 stitches magic loop, and you're trying to not twist your stitches, it's almost impossible. It's just like it's trying to knit a slinky or something. It's impossible. It's driving me up the wall. So I've ordered a 2.5, a 2mm 40 centimetre version, so like a hat version, so I can just go round and round in a circle and not have all the excess cable, which I'm hoping might help my plight. Honestly, that's ridiculous, isn't it? It's just too difficult to do it like this. It's stressing me out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on waste yarn and have a look at the gauge. Not the gauge. Yeah, have a look at how it's looking. My gauge is already way under what the pattern gauge is. Over. So basically my gauge would mean that I'd get a smaller hat than the gauge of the actual pattern would give you. You do understand what I mean, don't you? The gauge I'm getting would should give me a smaller hat overall, but it doesn't feel like it. So I'm going to get this onto waste yarn and see how I feel. And in the meantime, I've got some 2mm hat needles, that's what I call, you know, the 40 centimetre cable on their way to me. If I had to go down even lower than that, it's going to get a bit silly, isn't it? I don't think I'd want to go any lower than a 2mm needle, but I'm quite determined to make this hat. Like, I feel like the universe is telling me that I need to make this hat, and I really like it. A lot of the projects on Ravelry have said that they've had problems with it being too big, especially in the length. And one of the projects was really helpful actually, because it said they actually omitted that beautiful seaweed bit on the top and brought the decreases for the crown in earlier while still knitting the end of the lobsters. So I might do that, but I'm not even anywhere near knitting a lobster, let alone thinking about decreases yet. So, and it's all living, by the way, in my gorgeous personalised Little Drops of Wonderful bag, and this was made for me by Loma and Echo at the Rogan Camp Girls podcast, and they also have a shop called Narwhal's Creations. Look, isn't that amazing? And that's their tag there. I just love it so much, and I love the yellow flowers, and I've got the yellow zip, and even the tab is lined with yellow. And of course, I'll show you the inside, shouldn't I? The inside is yellow too. I love it. Thank you, Loma and Elka. Love this bag. So I'm determined to make this hat. Determined. Watch this space. This is the point in the filming where I start to question everything I've just done and think, oh my goodness me, what a load of old twaddle. So I hope you're still with me. Before I go any further into this podcast, I have to talk about the Strictly Sockalong. I've got some other incoming bits, lots of yarn and all kinds of things to talk about, but I think I will burst if I don't talk about the Strictly Sockalong. I have printed a whole A4 page of information to talk to you about. So if you don't know, and it's been 6 years, so if you don't know, you must be very, very new to this channel. But the Strictly Sockalong marks the sparkliest or most autumnal time of the year. Strictly season is upon us, and the Strictly Sockalong will officially start this year on the 17th of September, which is the date of the launch show of Strictly Come Dancing 2022. And what we do is we knit socks whilst watching Strictly. So 2022 will be the 6th Strictly Sockalong. I can't believe I've been doing this for 6 years. 6 years of ridiculousness, cheating, sparkling disco socks, and goodness knows with everything else that's going on in the world at the moment, with all of the awful things and the cost of living crisis, we need to have something silly to distract ourselves and lighten spirits. And although I know that knitting socks is not going to solve the world's problems, it might save our minds, and healthy minds can do good things. Healthy minds can help the world, can't they? So, which I've just realised now I'm saying that the Strictly Sockalong is going to be responsible for saving the world. So everyone should just stop listening to me immediately. But well done to everyone. Some of you have joined in every year for the past 6 years, and that is amazing. And every year we have new sock knitters come and join us who use it as an opportunity to learn and to have a bit of fun. It runs for 3 months thereabouts, so it usually runs from, well, this year from the 17th of September until the very end of the year, the 31st of December. But I don't normally close the threads until the 1st or 2nd week of January, so it really does run for 3 months, and that is a long time to be able to get to grips with knitting socks. But not only that, is there are so many opportunities. I hear the next door's cats come in because the door's open at the back. Hang on a minute, she wishes to come and talk to you about the Strictly Sockalong. Oh, she matches my cardigan. Did you want to talk about the Strictly Sockalong? This is Mia. Oh, she wants to sit on my lap. This is Mia. She lives next door. But because it's summer and our back door is open, she thinks she also lives here too. And I'm now covered in cat hair. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, there's lots of opportunities to win even if you don't finish. So I always have quite a lot of prizes, and because I draw winners from the Ravelry finished object thread at different points throughout the Sockalong, but also the chatter thread and the hashtag, which you can use on Instagram as well. There's lots of different places you can win whether or not you've finished your socks. You have a bit more of an opportunity if you post in all 3 places, so you can post in the chatter thread, the FO thread, and also just use the Instagram the hashtag, which is Strictly Sockalong 2022. So there's lots and lots of ways you can win, and you don't necessarily have to finish, but you've also got motivation to finish as well. So the rules, which you are fully expected to break with wild abandon. And you should always remember that creative rule bending, breaking and cunning may be used. In fact, it is absolutely encouraged, and anyone can join in. Yes, even if you don't watch Strictly, you can still join in as long as you can come up with a really good excuse. Yes, an excuse. And that's it. You can cheat your way through it. Some years people do the whole thing without watching a single episode of Strictly. You can also watch your country's version, which is, I think, Dancing with the Stars in most places. One year someone was knitting their socks because they were in Vienna, which was home of the Viennese waltz. You are really, really molting. I'm absolutely covered in cat hair now. Oh, it's going to make me sneeze. All crafts are welcome, so as long as there's socks they're in, and as long as you've made them. So crochet them, knit them, weave them. Can you weave socks? Can you weave socks? Sew them? I don't know, but they need to be socks that you can wear. So no decorative socks, no Christmas stockings. So if you've never joined in before, it really is a lot of fun. It's really silly. New friendships are made every year, and there are 5 prize categories, and that's as it has been since the beginning, although I have changed the names of these categories a couple of times, and that's what I've done this year. So they are the Cha-Cha Cheating prize category, formerly known as rule bending. What you need to do is use the hashtag Strictly Sockalong Rules wherever you share about your rule bending, cheating, underhand tactics. So use Strictly Sockalong Rules on your Ravelry posts when if you're posting an FO, or even if you're just chatting about them. Use them on Instagram, Strictly Sockalong Rules, and this makes it really easy for me to find what you're all doing to cheat. And there will be prizes, at least one prize, awarded at the end for who I consider to be the best cheaters of the year. The next category is the Fabulous prize. This is the one right at the end. I will draw 3 winners, one from the Ravelry FO thread, one from the Ravelry chatter thread, I don't know why I'm doing this, and one from the Instagram hashtag Strictly Sockalong 2022, and I'll draw them at random at the end of the Sockalong. The next category is the first 10, formerly Never Too Early for a 10 from Shirley, and before that, a 10 from Len. But now it's just the first 10 category to make it a bit more obvious. So as soon as the first 10 is awarded in the 2022 UK Strictly series, I will draw a winner at random from the Ravelry chatter thread. At Halloween, the date of the Halloween show, which should be Saturday the 30th of October this year, I will draw a random winner from anyone with a finished object in the Ravelry FO thread by the end of that weekend, so you'll have until like the end of the Sunday. The same for the Blackpool weekend. They will be back at Blackpool for the first time in 3 years this year. So anyone with FOs in the FO thread on Ravelry by the end of the weekend of the Blackpool show will be in with a chance of winning a prize then, and that will be, I think, the 19th of November. We went to Blackpool when we were on holiday in Lancashire. It was amazing. We went and had afternoon tea in the Blackpool Tower Ballroom, and I thought it would be absolutely amazing. See, I was in the home of Ballroom, in the home of Strictly, to pick up a few trinkets, maybe Strictly related, Ballroom related, bit of Blackpool memorabilia, and whilst I was there to add as a prize for the Strictly Sockalong. Unfortunately, I came up with this idea after we were home because I am an idiot. I was right there in the sort of the heart of the Strictly Sockalong, Blackpool Tower Ballroom, and did I buy anything to put towards prizes? I did not. Didn't even think about it until I got home, so I'm very sorry about that, but I still do have some lovely prizes. I'm going to have a couple of skeins of the yearly Strictly colourway from Wool is the Answer. She's trying to get out again now. She was desperate to come in. Let me just go and let the cat out that I don't have. She wants Phoebe. She knows Phoebe's here, but she doesn't understand why she can't find her because she's still in bed, and it is 9:30. I'm doing well. So what I was talking about prizes. So I'm going to buy a couple of the Wool is the Answer annual Strictly colourway. They've got that in the dye pots as we speak, I believe. So I'll have a couple of skeins of that. I've got a beautiful skein of yarn from Henny Penny Makes, who I mentioned earlier. She has got one of her old colourways, which is called Fake Tan and Glitter, possibly the best name for a Strictly colourway ever, and she's going to send that as a prize. So thank you so much, Erin. That was so kind of you, and I can't wait to show that off on the next podcast. But she sent me a picture of it, so I'll put a picture up on the screen. So I've got that. I've got one of my dodgy bags. Actually, I've got a couple of dodgy bags. I've got some more yarn coming, which I'll show you next time. I've got a skein of yarn that I recently bought, which I shall show you in 1 second. I just want to check if there's anything else I want to say about prizes. No. So we went recently to the Petticoat Lane Emporium. I've been a couple of times before. It's down in Ramsgate here in Kent, and the girls and my mum and I went down there recently, and I bought some yarn, one for me and one to use as a Strictly prize. And the dyer is a dyer based in Kent. It's Pippin Yarns, which I hadn't heard of, but quite a few people mentioned after I showed this last time that they really liked Pippin Yarns, and I think they're going to be at the Southern Wool Show this weekend, and I'm going to the Southern Wool Show, which I shall mention later. So I haven't yet decided which one's for me and which one's for the prize, but it'll be one of these from Pippin Yarns. They're absolutely gorgeous. They're the zebra yarns, which I've never knit with before. So I've got one of those. There's not going to be an official yarn or an official pattern this year, as I'm trying to minimise the impact of the admin of the Strictly Sockalong. I'm also going to keep the prizes to a minimum as well. So once I've got the prizes that I require, I'm not going to accept any more, even though that's really difficult to do because people are so generous to offer so many prizes. But once I've got them, because otherwise it becomes really, really difficult to manage, and I want to concentrate some time on producing more content rather than having to worry about postage and getting stuff sent out and all of that. I really want to put my time and effort into producing more content on this channel and on my other channel as well. So if you do have a Strictly themed pattern or yarn coming out this Strictly season, let me know. Or if you know about any, let me know, and let's make this the year that we really share small businesses. These are hard times at the moment, especially for small businesses, so let's really celebrate them and give them a shout out and share their yarn and their patterns and their bags and everything. So share it in the comments, let me know, and I'll try to give as many people as I possibly can a shout out about their hand-dyed yarn or their handmade bags or their patterns or anything. Just like let me know, and let's use this year as a chance to support small fibre businesses all over the world. I am going to be selling my Strictly Sockalong badges as usual, which I of course have not brought with me. I will go and get one. Quick battery change there as well. So if it's changed position slightly, that's why. So these are my Strictly Sockalong badges, which were designed with the help. So I did the design and then it was finessed and made much better. Good morning. I'm just doing a podcast. Phoebe's on. Mia's in the kitchen. I'll pass that. It's pretty good, isn't it? So I did the design, and then I had some help from Adele at Toastal House Art, who I will link below because she was brilliant, and she sells the most gorgeous badges and pins and all kinds of things. And oh, I should have used my Strictly Sockalong mug, shouldn't I? Because it's the first sort of mention of Strictly. So these are my badges. I've got a white one, and I've got a black one, and these will be available now in my Etsy shop. I'm going to open my Etsy shop again today. There is a postal strike going on, so I'll probably be affected by that. I will post everything as normal, but they may get held up a little bit within the postal strike and could take longer to arrive. I think that's only for the first couple of weeks of September, and then everything should be okay again after that. So I'm going to be selling these. I've got loads of them, but I'm not going to be getting any more after these have all sold out. So these could become collector's items. And that is because I am currently looking into producing the things that I sell in a much more earth and eco-friendly way. So what I would like to do is make sure that the button badges that I sell, which are these two and the Have Happy Adventures pin as well, are plastic free and biodegradable. So I'm looking into how I can afford to do that and what the price would have to be, because it would have to be priced a bit higher to cover the cost of that. But I'm no longer comfortable with producing things that produce so much plastic that will just ultimately end up in the environment. So once these are gone, they're gone. And if you've got one, make sure you use it forever and never put it into landfill. So I'll be selling those. Right, is there anything else? Yes, and important to say as well, of course, that all proceeds from the sale of these badges will be going directly to Eon to pay my electricity bill. Yeah, so that's it. Are you joining in with the Strictly Sockalong? The chatter thread and the FO thread are live. I've set them up already. A few people have already noticed that and they're already in there chatting, which is brilliant. A few people have already started their socks, even though it's only the 1st of September at the time of filming. Nose blowing break. Ugh, so, the snot. So they've started fully over like 3 weeks before the Sockalong's even begun, and that is as it should be, because that is good cheating. Well done if you've already started your Strictly socks, even though it's not even time. That is dedicated cheating. Well done. Right, let's move on. After all of that, I feel like I was just talking Strictly Sockalong forever, but I don't. It's just so lovely to be talking about it again. Incoming things. Should we talk about some incoming things? So I spoke about the yarn. I think I spoke about this last time, the Pippin yarns. And then 2 things arrived whilst I was away on holiday, which was a lovely surprise, because I came back to some things on my doorstep. Well, no, it was on my kitchen table because my mum had been in to deal with the post and everything. The chickens were fine, by the way. I had a few questions about that. We had brilliant Paul the pet sitter. He came in twice a day, every day whilst we were away, and it looked after the chickens, and my mum couldn't stay away either, so she was here most days to check on the plants and give the chickens vegetables, even though they didn't really need that, but I think she wanted to keep an eye on the grand chickens. She loves them because they are just so funny. She'll just sit on the swing and watch them. So they did brilliantly whilst we were away. And then when I came back, I had this wonderful surprise gift from Emma, and she said it's fine for me to mention it, and she sent me a sort of little, it was a thank you for all of the vlogs and the podcasts and things, and she has made me out of C2C Baby, which makes me think of Schitt's Creek. Phoebe's laughing at that. Batik yarn. This is the yarn. You're going to hear noises now because not only is Phoebe in here, but the cat's back. She's already been on the podcast this morning. I'm going to put on a cowl along with my knitted cardigan because I'm not already warm enough. Hello, Mia. What do you think of my cowl from Emma?
What do you think of it?
This is the Moonflower cowl. She wrote it down. It's the Moonflower cowl by Fibre Fox. But that's the pattern she used, and I love it so much. Look at it. I can't wait for it to be cold enough to wear it. It's so soft, so lovely, so warm, and so yellow. Thank you so much, Emma. And she also popped in this gorgeous little penguin pin.
That's cute.
It is cute. It's Reach for the Stars, and it's by
Reach
Deli's
for the
Designs.
stars. Oh,
It's so cute. And then some lemon ginger manuka honey tea, which is
Oh my gosh,
perfect
Mia.
because I have a cold. I'm going to have this after I finish filming. I don't know why I'm showing you tea. I got to take this off. This is making me really warm. I'm getting quite warm now.
That's how I felt when I put my wetsuit on.
Could you go and get your Sid?
Sid! Mia, go!
So thank you for that, Emma. And I also had a wonderful surprise gift from Lily at Lily of Norway. She sent me a mouse mat, and I was going to take this into work, but I didn't because I kind of was like, it's too nice for work. I'm working from home tomorrow, so I'm going to use it tomorrow. It's going to be my working from home mouse mat, and it's a fabric one. So I'm really looking forward to trying this out. It's really pretty. It's got a little crease in it because she folded it for the envelope, so I'll design that out. So thank you, Lily, for that. And she also sent me some of her bookmarks because she knows how much I love reading. I'm not going to talk about books this episode because I think it'll get too long with all the Strictly Sockalong chatter. But I'll talk about books next time. She's making these bookmarks, which she's going to be selling from the beginning, I think 1st of October in her shop, and I'll link her shop underneath. And they're really cute. It says, "My weekend is booked." And it's got her original illustration at the bottom of each one, and she's done them in lots of different colours. So I've got plenty here to share with the girls. And there's another design which reminds me of kind of Art Deco, 1930s, 1920s, whatever era Art Deco was. So I'm going to keep a few of these back to put in with Strictly prizes as well, so you can get a lovely bookmark. And then she sent me 2 Christmas ones as well. Oh, did I just accidentally send you show you a Christmas one already? Oh no, it's just one Christmas one. My Christmas is booked. Such a good idea. I love those, Lily. Thank you. And then the little card she did is also one of her designs. So I got a beautiful, detailed little. Ooh, oh, the camera's like, what's going on there? Isn't that lovely? So thank you, Lily. That was my other incoming thing. And oh, and I also got. What are you doing? Are you putting faces behind my back?
No.
Are you having an apple for breakfast?
Yeah.
I need to have an apple. Very good for you. The other thing that came in was, where am I keeping them? In here, yeah. So my latest advent from Suzanne at Green Lumpkin Yarns. I've been buying these all throughout the year. So I've now got numbers 13, 14 and 15 to add to my bag. So I'm going to order, so the next lot will be, oh, I can't remember if I've already ordered the next lot, but by the time I've got all of them, I'll have enough for 24 for an advent. And I've been putting them all in my lovely wintry Betsy Makes bag in here every time they arrive.
Don't speak of Christmas.
Phoebe doesn't like it if we speak of Christmas before her birthday, because her birthday's St Andrew's Day, which is the 30th of November, the day before Advent starts. So we
Everyone forgets my birthday.
We don't forget your birthday. When have we forgotten your birthday?
No, not you. Like, we were at school and like, they're like, Christmas, and I'm like, it's my birthday. And
Think
like,
of the people who have birthdays like on Christmas, or like Christmas Eve or something. You're not even in December.
no,
You missed December by about 1 hour. Not even that, actually. I think you were born at something like 11:50 PM. I think you just made St Andrew's Day. The cat's going for my Strictly badges. Right, so I think, is there anything else in my podcasting box that I want to show? There's lots of stuff in my podcasting box. I could spend a whole hour going through my podcasting. So I show some things that are in my podcasting box. Actually, no, I'm not going to, because it's all just stuff I need to sort out. It's a little bit overwhelming looking in there. So we've made it to, and finally, I wanted to say, first and foremost, so I'm filming this on Thursday morning, and I'm going to edit it this afternoon whilst Phoebe's at her friend's house. And I'm hoping to have it out on Friday. So if you're watching this on Friday and you might be going to the Southern Wool Show at Newbury Racecourse on Saturday, I'm going to be going there this weekend. My stepmom lives in Newbury. I'm going up to stay with her. I'll be there all day Saturday and on Sunday morning as well. A few of you on Instagram said you're going, so I'm hoping to bump into you. And yeah, just sorry if I'm awkward and nervous. And
sadly, no one can come with her.
no, we were hoping Dan would come with me, but there's so much going on Saturday. And finally, oh, there's two more things. I'm glad you're here for one of these. I have lots and lots of vlogs at the moment going up about our trip to Lancashire. So if you head over to This Little Wonderful Life, I'll put a link underneath to the playlist of Lancashire vlogs. So please go over and check that out. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and apparently the bell notification helps as well. But if you're here and you're going to leave a comment or anything like that, just hit that like button. It really, really helps my videos, it helps my channel.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button and smash that notification bell so you get a notification every time we upload.
I should get you to do that every time. You're of the generation to do it. I have one more thing that I want to say. I'm putting this out there in the world because my family have got me thinking that I am losing my mind. I saw an advert at some point in the last few months, and I can't remember where I saw the advert, but it was on some channel or streaming service for a programme where the premise of it is, or part of it is, that someone finds out that they might have a celebrity father, and that celebrity father is David Tennant.
And of course you have a crush on David Tennant.
I have never seen that advert since, and I am almost now becoming convinced by my family that I dreamt it. But I'm sure I saw it. So have you watched this programme where someone in the programme at some point thinks that their secret father is David Tennant? I don't even think David Tennant's in it. I just think that's one of the stories in it. But they're beginning to convince me that I'm losing my mind.
It was a dream.
So if you have seen that advert, please tell me so that I can rub it in their faces. Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye now, and I hope this all comes together okay. I will see you at the Southern Wool Show, and I'm going to make a vlog about that weekend as well. Phoebe and I are going to go and do a little video about Sid, so you can see it in the works in progress bit. And don't forget to join in with the Strictly Sockalong and let me know if you are, and let me know about all the hand-dyed yarns and patterns. Until next time, happy knitting, happy crocheting, and I'll see you again soon.
And smash the notification bell so you get notified every time we upload.